Hi guys, I'm Jess and welcome to the Riverdale Review. So you might notice that I have a little bit of a different backdrop today. That is because work has brought me to sunny Florida. So whilst I'm soaking up the sun in Florida, I thought I would bring the Riverdale Review to you from a slightly different location. So chapter 25 opens up with Archie in full swing under Hyrum's guidance. You would recall from last week's episode that Hyrum has offered Archie a kind of internship. Archie is doing everything for him, like picking up food from Pops and picking up dry cleaning, even picking up resold shoes because God forbid Hyrum have shoes that do not have beautiful patent leather soles. Archie carries out all of Hyrum's instructions and tasks without question, which again leads me to question what his true motivation is. Now, during this episode, we see the FBI agent that Archie has been conspiring with pop up a number of times, and he's starting to get impatient. He wants information from Archie, and Archie isn't delivering. At one point, the FBI agent even suggests that Archie wears a wire, and Archie flat out refuses. I feel like with a show like Riverdale, if you tempt the fates and wear a wire, you're gonna get caught. And Hyrum Lodge proves this episode that he is not to be messed with. So during this very lucrative poker game that Hyrum has arranged at Pop's late one evening, Archie is plunging a blocked toilet and overhears a conversation between two of Hyrum's associates. One of them comments that Hyrum is getting too big for his boots, that he needs to be taken down a couple of notches, and that this associate is the person to do that. Archie's kind of conflicted with this information. I think any normal person would go straight to Hyrum and say, hey, this guy just said that he's gonna kill you. Just a heads up. But of course with Archie, he's your typical overthinker. He mulls it over, he thinks on it and thinks on it and thinks on it. Thankfully, he finally does go to Hyrum and advises him exactly what he heard and what the plans might be. Now, whilst this whole episode is very much Hyrum based, we kind of know that Hyrum's the bad guy, but there's always that hope that he'll redeem himself, especially because Archie loves Veronica so much. You want them to have this nice, healthy relationship, and you want, her dad to be redeemed. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. So when he finds out this information from Archie that one of his associates is planning this hit on him, he picks up a phone in his office and calls somebody who we as the audience don't see. Next thing we know, that associate is dead. This is the first time that we really see Veronica's conflict as far as the business that she's conducting with her parents and her love for Archie. It's always gone back and forth. There's been this real flip-flop where I don't know if she's helping out her parents so she can keep an eye on things and kind of warn associated people as needed, or if she truly is exactly like her parents. But in this episode, she does confirm that real love and desire for Archie's innocence to be maintained. Of course, it's a little too late because Archie's already aware of what exactly has happened. The FBI agent has come to him and informed him that Hyrum's associate has been murdered. The FBI agent asks Archie if he has any information on this, which of course he does. He's the person who overheard, he's the person who went to Hyrum, but he doesn't give up the information for fear of it, coming back on him. So when Veronica does tell Archie that Hyrum does have these mob connections or this, this very sinister undertone, it's no real surprise to Archie. So the moment we were all waiting for, Betty and Jughead are back together, yay! Now, whilst I have said in previous episodes that I am a fan of Betty and Archie being in a relationship, this rekindling of Betty and Jughead has come at such a wonderful time because Veronica and Archie are obviously going very, very strong. And Betty has been so conflicted and Jughead so lost that I'm glad that they've found each other again. It also looks like they may have taken their relationship to the next level. And I say good for them, hooray! Now very early on in this episode, we see the return of Dark Betty. Complete in bra and black wigs, Betty Cooper looks like she has been taking on a very similar role as her brother Chick. Although we don't really know what exactly is happening on these Skype sessions, we do know that they're of a sexual nature. It's very interesting to see that this is how she's decided to channel this darkness that she feels lives inside of her. Obviously, the only person that knows that Betty is up to this is her brother Chick. But there is this very small moment where Betty goes to tell Jughead exactly what she's been up to, but then decides to keep that quiet. I think that moment is going to come back to bite her, but I think for now it's what audiences want and what her character needs to really kind of delve into this darkness. Personally, I'm looking forward to the next time she tries to drown Chuck in a hot tub. We also see the return of Penny, the Cobra, in this episode. Of course, that scandalous moment where Jughead cut the serpent tattoo from her arm has come back to haunt him in this episode where Penny demands an eye for an eye. The bronze head is missing and Jughead and Betty go on a mission together to find it in order to clear Jughead's name. As luck would have it, the bronze statue's head is found and returned to the serpents, where it's revealed that Tallboy was the one who deformed the statue and then tried to dispose of the head in order to have FP and Jughead removed from the serpents. His plan fails, of course, with the reveal of his involvement, and he is banished from the serpents. Finally. He was a really annoying character and his nose ring bummed me out. It just did not look like it belonged. Hal has officially moved out of the Cooper residence. This is further confirmation for what I was talking about last week. I really and truly believe that Hal is not Chick's biological father. I think that this action where he is now staying at this B&B to be completely removed from the situation is further confirmation that Chick is not his son. Now on the podcast Betty Squared that I co-host with my friend Heidi delved into the idea of this a little more, thinking that perhaps Chick might be the offspring of Alice and FP. Now you might recall that Alice has a little bit of a sordid past, especially when it comes to the serpents. There was that great episode where she turned up in next to nothing and got a little drunk at a serpents gig. So we've always known that there has been tension between Alice and FP, but perhaps we weren't clear about what type of tension. Perhaps it's a little sexual tension which led to a pregnancy that was disguised as belonging to Hal. Perhaps Hal knows about this, perhaps he's completely in the dark, but he's always suspected it. It's going to be really interesting to see if this theory might be right. So whilst Betty and Jughead are in flagrante, Alice is waiting with Chick at the dinner table for her to return. There is a knock at the door and she assumes it's either Hal or Betty. She goes to answer it and it's an older blonde-haired gentleman who asks for Chick. So from this point we have a jump cut where Betty returns home much later in the evening, puts her keys down and hears a really strange noise. She very carefully walks into the living room to discover the gentleman who answered the door dead on the ground and her mother cleaning up blood that is all over the floor. Betty, of course, is completely baffled. She has no idea what's going on and goes to ask her mom what's happened. Alice doesn't respond and simply asks if the front door is locked. I'm sure we're about to find out more about who that man was and what Chick's involvement will be in the next episode. Thanks again for joining me for another episode of the Riverdale Review. Don't forget to like this video, leave any comments, feedback or suggestions in the box below and hit that big subscribe button.